excited once in a while, but I just want to tell you how we got to where I am today. Today's message is very similar. I did one not too long ago, very, very similar to this. Today, I'm going to talk about the value of time and making the most of our time. Time is the one thing that we all have in common. Now, in terms of years, none of us are guaranteed how many years, how many days, how many months. We don't know how much time. But we all know and get the same amount of time each day. God is very interested in our time. He tells us that He knows the plans He has for us. Well, how are those plans marked out? It's what we do with our time. I remembered this verse this week, and if you go ahead and click up here, we're going to get the title and the scripture. Go one more, please. Look at this verse dealing with time. Be very careful. Be very careful how you live. Not as unwise, but as wise. And what's he saying? Be very careful how you spend your time. Not as unwise, but as wise. I'm going to stop right here, and as parents, I'm going to tell you something that will be very helpful to you, and this has hit me in the last month so heavily. When you pray with your children in the morning or in the evening, or you pray for your children, one of the most important things you can pray for, wisdom. Remember when Solomon was anointed king? God said, I'll give you anything you want. You asked for it, and he asked for wisdom. And God was so pleased that he asked for wisdom, that he blessed his life abundantly. Wisdom to make wise decisions. Wisdom to see right from wrong. Wisdom to recognize opportunities to get involved in. Wisdom. Live our lives wisely. Now, here's what I like. Making the most of every opportunity. When opportunity presents itself, are we prepared to make the most of it? If we spend our time wisely preparing for opportunity, when opportunity presents itself, we'll be prepared to make the most of it. Make the most of our time. Now, this is no secret, because the days are evil. I'm telling you. I won't go into great detail, it's not the point of the message, but we're living in tough times. Anyway, do not be foolish. And here's the whole point of the message today. But understand what the Lord's will is. I want to tell you, you must get fired up. You must be excited, knowing that God in heaven, the master planner, the designer of all creation, the designer of mankind, the designer of us as individuals, has created us with a purpose. And we have the privilege of living out that purpose every day as we spend our time seeking God, seeking His will, and spending our time living that purpose out. Here's a great thing. We don't have to wait till we're 90, 70, 50. We start today. We don't know how much time we have. I can't worry about the time that I've already spent. Hopefully we've learned from that time But we're not going to let that time dictate how we live today. So maybe for some of us, this is a time to rebound, to get over some things of the past, and now it's time to get on the right path. For others, maybe we've been on the right path, and now maybe God is calling us to raise our level of living, take on more responsibility, see Him more clearly. So whatever level or wherever we are in our journey, today is our opportunity to evaluate time and how can we make the most of that time, taking advantage of every opportunity. So, with Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15 in mind, let's talk today about how do we make the most of our time. Now, I'm telling you this. This could have been a one-day message. We're making it 4 weeks. Today, I'm only talking about one aspect of our time. And today we're going to talk about the purpose of time. The purpose of our time. Here's why God created us. Here's your purpose. Ready? Go. We're given time so that we can make a difference with our life. You don't have to look very far for opportunity if you're wanting to impact someone else's life. It could be your child's life. It can be your parents' life. It can be a friend's life. It can be a neighbor's life. It can be a student's life. It can be your boss's life. It could be the employee's life. You don't have to look far for someone that needs impact in their life, and we have the privilege. God gives us time to make a difference. Here's where I'm starting today. When you evaluate your time, how much of your time have you purposely set aside to make a difference? How many of us plan in our lives each day time to make a difference? A difference that will matter. A difference with significance. A difference that will last the test of time. I'll never forget, Ferdina Anderson was our youth pastor when I was 15, 16 years old. Her making a difference in my life speaks to me these 30-some years later. I still, in my mind, can remember the little red hearts we cut out. I'm kind of embarrassed to talk about a 16-year-old boy cutting out a red heart, but we did that because that represented God's heart. And that's the day, for the first time, I saw that verse about God having a plan for our life. That verse has impacted me 30-some years. The difference that makes a difference is an eternal difference. What difference can I make in my wife's life, in my children's life, in your life, in my student's life? What difference can I make that will impact your eternity, your faith? And so today, when I talk about making a difference, that's the difference that we want to make, a significant, eternal faith difference in someone's life. Are you with me? Okay, let's talk about what that looks like in our lives today. So our goal, make a difference. Look, here's what Jesus said. This is my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit. Make a difference. Bear fruit for Him. Showing yourselves to be my disciples. Here we go. Step one. Every day, Every day, we should set aside time to commune with God. I can't fulfill my purpose unless I'm spending quality time with my Creator, my Redeemer, my guide. I must take time every day to commune with Him. Now, what does that communion look like? Anna's the great note taker. Good. That's okay. You take notes. I'll tell you when I look up. Listen. Every day, part of your communion with God should be these 4 things. 1, you should be praying in your communion with Him. And here's the part of prayer I want you to get today. We see prayer as me telling God what I need, what I want Him to know, what He should be doing for me today, and we think that's prayer. When actually prayer is me I'm listening. I'm listening. God, what do you want me to know about you? What do you want me to know about my life? We are so funny, aren't we? Now, we can laugh at this because we're all guilty. Don't we all think we know more than God? Aren't we just quick to tell God what we need and how fast we need it, when we need it? We're good at that. And God in His graciousness just listens. But we will be very wise if after we have spent our time telling God what He needs to do, we will be wise if we take part in the second part of prayer and listen. He may speak to us in a still small voice. He may speak to us through a song. He may speak to us through a Bible passage. Give God a chance to speak to you. Oftentimes, it's the thing we need to make a difference in our life for that day. Here's the point. If God can make a difference in my life that day, now I'm prepared to make a difference in someone else's life. So we should be praying. We should be reading. I hope you're all reading your Bibles every day. Now, again, I'm not dwelling on this too long, but geez, we can put it on our phone. We can put it on our tablet. Some of us still like to hold it in our hands so we can underline and write and mark. We have the daily bread. We have Bible plans. Get a plan. I'm going to read 1 chapter a day. I'm going to read 1 chapter from the Old Testament, 1 from the New Testament. I'm going to read 5 Psalms. Just get a plan. And start. Now, I'm just telling you this today. You're going to, in the beginning days, read some things that may not make sense, that may not help you that day. But the more you read, the more you practice reading for a purpose. Just like everything else, you will get better. And so don't start out frustrated how much you don't know. Look for that one thing you do know. Hey, remember when you were kids, the Cracker Jack box? Now, I'm telling you, Cracker Jacks were pretty good. But you were just like me. I had 3 brothers. It was a fight to the Cracker Jack box because what would happen? Rip the top off, dump it out, and do what?
Get the toy.
Get the toy. Get the toy. Now, eventually we got to the candy corn. We got to that, don't make a mistake. And that's how we look into our Bibles. We read. And we're on the lookout for something that God might speak to us about that day. And so you may read 2 chapters, 3 chapters, and nothing makes sense. And all of a sudden you get to, ooh, cast all your cares upon me because I care for you. There it is. And so read with a purpose. 2, I put down meditate. Now listen, that word has got blown way out of text here. Meditation is not standing around getting in tune with nature. That's not meditation. Meditation is pausing your life and reflecting on God, reflecting on how big He is, reflecting on His Word. Maybe there's a Bible verse that just has stood out to you, and you just take time to reflect on that Bible verse. What does it mean for my life, and how do I apply that to my life? And you just take quiet time reflecting. And letting your quiet heart be in God's presence. I'm going to tell you something. Some of the most awesome times of prayer are when God is silent and you are silent. And there's just love and appreciation flowing back and forth. And there's just reflection of how great He is. So pray, read, meditate. And here's the great thing about worship. No one has to be there with you. You can sing. Doesn't the Bible say sing hymns and songs of praise? Hey, we get to do that on Sunday morning. But I love it. Man, you put the earbuds in, you put your headphones on, and you find, man, Carrie Joe, Michael W. Smith, Matt Redman, but you can name tons of them. And you worship Him. I'm telling you, it's awesome to worship here. But when you find time to worship Him and you sing to Him, and it doesn't matter how good you sing or how loud you sing, it's the time that you're not critiquing your singing. You're just loving Him. And so, my challenge to you today, I used to say, get rid of all your old stuff and get the good stuff. I'll just say today, get more worship than the other stuff. Whatever it is that you're drawn to, there's a version of that you can worship. And so, look through the Christian artists. Look through the Christian songs. They've come a long way. And it's awesome. Parents especially, listen. You do not, as parents, have to accept what culture is pitching to your kids. You don't have to let what comes through your kids' earphones be vulgar and just absolutely deteriorating to your value system. Teach your children young to fill their minds and their heart and their soul with God's Word in song, with songs that bring us into His presence, not cause Him to turn away while we have our entertainment time. Pray, read, meditate, sing. Now, in that time of worship, we get in tune with God. We begin to get in tune with our purpose. Now, the next thing happens. Here we go. After we've communed with God, now here's our calling. Here's how we spend time. Connect. Your job and my job, take time, connect with people. I know I'm a simple man, but if we're going to make a difference, guess who we make a difference with? People. Other people. Some people are young, some are middle-aged, some are elderly. Some will connect at VBS. Some we connect at school. Some we connect over the grill at your house. Today we're going to try to connect with those at the golf course. It's about connecting. Listen, it's a difficult age. It's tough to find quality people that you're going to be 100% on board with. But we can't make a difference in someone's life if we don't find a way to connect with them. We don't have to endorse everything they do. We don't have to jump in on everything they do. We've got to find a way to connect with people so that they can see that our communion with God is making a difference in our life. We connect. Now, here's what I want you to see today. Next screen. They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship to the breaking of bread and prayer. When I talk about connecting, it's not just to the heathen that needs to know God. We're talking about our brothers and sisters inside the walls of our church. Do you ever struggle? You ever have a tough day? You ever made a bad decision you're trying to overcome? You ever had a great day you're just looking for someone to celebrate it with? We as Christians, our greatest privilege is finding common ground. We love Jesus. We love that He loves us. And we need to fellowship with each other. We need to connect. And in that connection, what do? We commit to learning. We commit to being together. We have dinner together, which we're pretty good at that. And to pray. Next screen. I gotta get moving. I'm dragging along here too soon. Okay, so we commune with God. We make a difference in our own life. Next, we seek to find time to connect with others. Now, when you come in contact with those others, the best thing you can do is pray. I'll just tell you this right now. This past week, I had the privilege, and it was a tough privilege, a tough responsibility, but I did Dylan Jackson's memorial service. And I was quick to put out, please pray for me tomorrow as we do this service. Many of you texted back, I'm praying for you tomorrow, I'm praying for you. You recognized the situation and you prayed. I'm going to tell you something, it made a difference. A lot of people ask me since then, how in the world did you get through that? And the only answer is through God's help and people praying. That's what made the difference. Please, it's something that every one of us can do. Pray. Pray for strength. Pray for wisdom. Pray for encouragement. Pray for opportunity. Pray for each other. Some of us are grieving. Some of us are mourning. Some of us are in physical situations. Some of us are trying to make tough decisions. Guess what we need? Prayer. Prayer. Now, earlier I spoke about the prayer for ourselves. We're listening. Here's the prayer. Get it out there. Boy, pray. Pray for the young family. Mom's not doing well. Son just got a tough diagnosis. Pray for the Roberts. Linda's suffering. Pray for the Shanks. Boy, they're up front there. They got a lot of responsibility. Please pray for them. Pray for our students who need encouragement, who need support, who need guidance. Pray for them. Commune with God. Connect with people. Once you connect, start praying for them. Now look what happens. Devote yourselves to prayer. Can I say that real quickly? Devote yourselves to prayer, being watchful. Spend time examining other people's life. Now, I'm going to be very careful. I'm not talking about look for an opportunity to jump in there and start blabbing. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being watchful and seeing how can I be praying for them specifically. We don't often have to be the most intelligent person in the world to pick up. They need prayer right now. And this is how I can be praying for them. Devote yourselves to prayer and watch to see what you can be praying specifically about. That's spending time wisely. Next. Now, from time to time, check in with that person. Check in. Spend time checking in. Here's checking in. How are you doing? I've been praying for you, and I'm just wondering, how are you doing? And when you check in with people from time to time, you're going to find out they may say, oh, I'm always fine. My wife gets so mad at me because I'm always fine. So I think she's about ready to quit asking. I'm always fine. But I'm not the only one, honey. Men are like that. Men are just always fine. Aren't we, Jeff? They're just always fine. They're fine. Now, when you check in, you're going to find out they may need some things. Anna, click this. Write this down, please. I want you to know how important this is. You may find they just need a little word of encouragement. I'm praying for you. I know you're going through a tough time. I just want to encourage you. Maybe they just need a little affirmation. They stepped out in faith and they're taking a big step of faith and they just need to know you're doing the right thing. In our culture today, we are going to do some things that not everyone agrees with. We need to know, I'm with you on this. I think you're doing the right thing. Affirmation. You may find they need a hand. Can I come over and help you with that? You need a hand with that? You may need to offer some comfort. David Jackson was amazing this past week, and Kathy was doing remarkably well. And here's what they said. They said, Mike, it's the prayers of the people who are helping us. And as hundreds of people flooded by, the ones that made a difference were the ones who didn't try to say too much. They just let them know these two things. We love you, David, Kathy, and we're praying for you. And that said, that meant so much to them. That brought them so much comfort. Now, I don't know what we say in times like that, but can I give you some suggestions? We don't say things like, I know how you feel. You don't know how they feel. You don't say things like, God has a reason. You don't say things like that. You say things like, we love you, David, Kathy, and we're praying for you. Is there anything we can do for you? And that's what they need to know. And so, find a way to encourage, find a way to affirm, find a way to give a helping hand, find a way to comfort. That's just a few. What's my point? Check in from time to time and see how people are doing. Our lives are busy, aren't they? And we're consumed with our plans and where we need to be, what we need to be doing. But I'm telling you, a very wise investment of your time is pausing and checking in with those around you. How are you doing? And then last but not least, please, take time to celebrate. When we celebrate people's victories, when we celebrate milestones, when we celebrate things that God has done, when we celebrate someone doing what God called them to do, I want to tell you something, that boosts their confidence. It builds their trust. It builds their faith. It makes a difference in their life. Don't be in a hurry. Take time to celebrate. Take time to, with God, do something that that person enjoys doing so that you can affirm in a very fun, joyful way, we are proud of what you have done. Now, I can't tell you from where I was when I was 16 years old to where I am now, soon to be 54, the hundreds of opportunities that I had that were new to me, that people would take time to celebrate those milestones. Our children need to celebrate. Our spouses need to celebrate. We need to take time to celebrate. Today's message, part 1, how to spend our time wisely. Set time aside every day to make a difference. Now, here's what I'm saying, quickly, and we'll close. Some of those times you can plan for it. Like I said, I was so grateful. Aunt Ruth texted me one night. I spoke with the Roberts, got a diagnosis. I prepared at that moment to visit the next day. I had time to prepare to make a difference. But other times, you just bump into an opportunity. And oh, I'm glad I ran into you. Can you do this? Can you help me with this? Can you pray for this? So, prepare when you can. And be prepared for the spontaneous as well. Let's review quickly and let's go. I can't tell you how important communing with God every day is. If you'll take the first 10, 15 minutes of your day and commune with Him, start where you are and get better. 2, take time every day to connect with people. Life is about relationships. We must value relationships. That's what life is all about. 3, commit to pray for people. Have a list of people you're praying for every day. I don't have to be the first one on your list. I don't have to be the second. Put me on there somewhere. Put my wife on there somewhere. Put my children. I appreciate it. Check in once in a while with those people. See how they're doing. And celebrate milestones. Make a difference in someone's life every day. Let's stand. Father, I thank you so much for this day, and I thank you for this congregation. I'm telling you something right now. This is a group of people who want to make a difference. Lord, you've drawn these people together. I think the thing we have in common is, 1, we love you. 2, we want to make a difference. Now, as you're shaping us, as you're forming us into the congregation that you want us to be, Lord, only because of these past experiences I've had with funerals and sickness and other things, it just emphasizes to me time is so valuable. And so our prayer today, Lord, teach us how to invest our time. May we surrender our time to you and ask us to fill our time with your purpose, with your will. Lord, I'm asking your blessing upon this endeavor. May we be extremely excited and maybe even surprised how well our communion goes this week. May we be surprised that, I didn't expect this connection this week. I know you're going to start doing that, so help us be prepared. Bless this congregation of people making a difference. And may that difference be for you and for your glory. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Hey, thank you enough for your attention. Hey, plan on making a